at the most beautiful capital in the whole country, the Iowa State Capitol, in the pursuit of civility in American politics. We're here in Iowa. The Iowa caucuses are coming up January 15th, and we've got a new candidate in the race. But I've noticed that finding civility in the campaign trail is getting harder and harder. So we are doing what we can with this program to inform, inspire, and entertain our audience. Major David Stuckenberg is running for the presidency. He's going to talk to you about his background and also share that they're doing the full Grassley, which is visiting all 99 Iowa counties, meeting with Iowans before January 15th and the night of the caucuses. Here's the opening credits.
We will become a rich and great nation again. Thank you. Great honor.
We have the top 1/10 of 1% owning more wealth than the bottom 90%.
Independents, Democrats, Republicans, bring them all, because I want to talk with all of them.
The things that I've been concerned about in this nation for the last few years have not changed.
We're chatting with Chief National Correspondent for the New York Times Magazine, Mark Leibovich, and Governor Bobby Jindal.
Well, thank you for having my wife on your beautiful home.
U.S. Senator Joni Ernst.
Hop on the back.
I got my own. I ride. This is not just a prop today. Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard.
Aloha.
Aloha.
To your viewers.
What's so interesting about the Iowa caucuses is it's unique and it's different and it really favors relationships.
That Iowans are filled with common sense.
Governor Terry Branstad, Rick Klein, someone who's been on the show several times, Congressman David Young, the D.C. Shadow Senator Paul Strauss.
Any candidate who is seeking to earn the awesome and sacred trust of the presidency of the United States has to come and engage with the people of Iowa.
Governor Mike Huckabee, Mr. Newt Gingrich, the highest-ranking Democrat in the state of Iowa, Congressman Dave Loebsack, John Huntsman, Senator Joe Lieberman, Senator Ted Cruz, Senator Chuck Grassley.
I haven't eaten anything other than fried Snickers. Can't describe it. It's just like going to heaven.
We need to push back to the RNC. This is a dumb way to do it. At the end of the day, Brad Pitt would be in our debate.
I think it's important because it's the first contest.
A potential Clinton Castro ticket.
Whoever the nominee is gets to pick who their vice president's going to be.
Folks, welcome back to the program. As you know, we are deep in Iowa caucus season. Sadly, this cycle, the Iowa Democrats lost their first-in-the-nation status. For me, a personal heartbreak. I am now in my 10th year in this state, and losing the Iowa caucus is a real shame. But thanks to the hard work of Chairman Jeff Kaufman and the Iowa Republicans, they have retained their first-in-the-nation status, and the Iowa caucuses are coming up January 15th. We have a new candidate in this race, and filming in what I think is the most beautiful state capital in the nation. He has joined us today. David Stuckenberg, welcome to the program.
Good to be here, Brent. Good morning.
So, as you travel this beautiful state, you will probably get some version of the question, welcome to Iowa, but a little late to start this, no? What is your response to that, and why is this a winning strategy?
It's never too late to do the right thing, and when we look at the pool of candidates that we have right now, I think America's searching for answers. They are wondering, is this the best we have to offer? And I can tell you most assuredly, it is not. And about 4 weeks ago, I walked out of my company, out of my business, and began to pursue this because it's the right thing to do for America. It's time for leadership.
So, Major Stuckenberg has an interesting background, a varied interest. You got generals, ambassadors, even the former director of the CIA is endorsing you. Why don't you give people just a quick snapshot of your military background?
Well, I started off enlisted as a aircraft maintainer. Before long, I was asked, do you want to fly these aircraft? I have 150 combat missions in special operations and conventional aircraft, both jet and propeller. And at the end of the day, I've been a significant part of the treaty compliance community. Beyond that, I've become what some might consider one of the premier military strategists in the United States, understanding gray zone warfare and the nature of the war in which we are engaged right now in a great power competition. America is not at peace. It's time we acknowledge that and put ourselves on footing to win.
You know, folks, you will hear voices around us. One of my favorite things about Iowa is that this Capitol is a public building, so you're going to see tours, etc., crossing frame behind us. Brings us to Iowa politics, though. Just this week, the governor of the state, Governor Kim Reynolds, did something that a lot of people are calling one of the most brave things that any politician has done in modern politics. She endorsed a candidate that isn't leading the race right now. What do you think of Governor Reynolds' endorsement of Governor Ron DeSantis in this race?
Well, I think people will make of it what they make of it. At the end of the day, I think Iowans are America's gatekeepers. They can judge character. Endorsements, I think, mean very little. The race is wide open. America is searching for leadership. They're searching for answers. They're searching for someone who can get the job done. And I think we're all tired of recycled political talking points. We're ready for new ideas, and we're ready for America to have a shield and a defender in the White House who stands between an overbloated federal government and the American people. One of us for all of us.
So your background, again, not just military. You're also, something that's fascinating to me, I read an article by legendary Iowa journalist Doug Burns. It's in the Iowa Capital Dispatch. I encourage viewers to check that out. In the article, a couple things jumped out at me, but one in particular, in your quote-unquote normal life, you're working to solve water scarcity with a big machine that pulls water out of the air. How does that work? What's going on?
Well, it's a good question. In 2016, I observed one of the Middle East nations actually begin to run out its physical water supply. They had a population of 3.5 million people, and they were at that point forced to make water just in time with desalination. Well, what do you do when you don't have a coastal area through which to purify water and to desalinate? And that led to an epiphany, and about 25 patents later, we have the leading technology company in the world for what we call renewable water from air. In the air is about 35 quadrillion tons of water. That's 12 repeating zeros. It's 85 times all of Earth's lakes, rivers, and streams. So what we're able to do...
It's in the air?
It's in the air. So what we're able to do is kind of cross over the barrier where humanity, since antiquity, has always taken their water from condensed sources such as lakes, streams, or aquifers, and begin to take it from the air wherever you are. So think of it like a data center where you could say we're computing at the edge, we're computing where the computing needs to happen, not in a consolidated way. Well, we can now do that with water. And what we see is that drought and permanent aridification is actually moving from the southwest United States all the way to the eastern US. And so our goal as a company was to set out to solve the grand challenge, the grand global challenge of solving sustainably global water scarcity.
That is truly fascinating. And best of luck, by the way. I think that's an important initiative. Admiral Mike Franken, three-star admiral, has run for Senate in this state, statewide campaigns a couple times now, and he's having an event. He's talking about military leaders looking at climate crisis as being one of the biggest challenges to human populations in the next couple of years. Do you agree with that? What are your thoughts?
I think it's a challenge. I do not think it is the biggest challenge. I deal with climate crisis every day in the form of water scarcity, right? I'm seeing nations all over the world run out of water. In fact, they call our company every day and they ask for help, and we're having to prioritize our resources. Remember, in 3 days without water, you cease. And water is the economic potential energy of a nation. So it's important stuff. Some might say it's even as important as oil now. But I will tell you that we have bigger challenges coming our way, especially within the national security arena from a great power competition standpoint. America is up against revisionist actors who seek to overcome us, and we are not on a footing that will prevent that from happening at this point. And one of the challenges right now with most of the candidates is that they do not have a good understanding of what it's going to take to win this great power competition.
I read in the article your dad was friends with Reagan and was an artist, and you used to sell his artwork as a kid. What's that story?
Well, you know, like most families, mine was imperfect. My mom and dad, you know, they parted ways very early. My dad had an early career as a presidential artist. Reagan began collecting his works when he was governor. But I ended up living in rural Oklahoma in Osage County with my mom. You know, after a while, she took us out of school, and at 11 years old, I went in the workforce, and I stayed there until I was 21. By the time I was 21 and I walked into the Air Force recruiter's office, I had sold hundreds and thousands of my dad's pen and ink drawings, but I had never been to school. And the recruiter said, "Dave, you're going to have to get an education." And so I did. I went in 6 weeks, I turned around my GED, and that was the beginning of my military career. Today, I've worked at many federal agencies, including the Pentagon. I've worked at the Joint Chiefs of Staff as one of their premier strategists, handling very exquisite technology portfolios like artificial intelligence, quantum mechanics, and hypersonics. I have worked at the State Department as a uniformed military advisor, working on some of the largest peacekeeping programs in the world. And I can tell you without a doubt, we are losing the great power competition, and there's not a body right now in the race, until now, who understands what we have to do to win and how to marshal the resources and intellectual capital of the United States to win this competition.
So you got GED with the Air Force, and now you're a PhD, is that right?
That's right, yeah. I went to King's College in London to study military strategy. As far as I'm aware, I'm the only person in the world with a PhD on international affairs and strategy in gray zone warfare, which is conflict below the threshold of war that happens across 5 domains: diplomatic, informational, military, economic, and social.
Interesting. You are going to embark on something, my understanding is you're going to do what's called the full Grassley. You're going to go see all 99 counties. Tell folks about that.
Look, my goal is to put a message unlike anything that has been heard to date in the 2024 presidential primary. I can promise you it will be a field from anything you have heard. And furthermore, one might say it's a little like Paul Harvey. I'm going to tell you the rest of the story, what you haven't been told about the story of the United States and what you need to know as American citizens to make good choices in the upcoming presidential election. You do not have to settle for less.
You know, your background of selling artwork person to person in this state, I think will come to bear and serve you well.
I'm hoping to meet and put my hand in as many people's hand as I can and just talk to people. I want to listen. I want to hear about what's on their minds. Certainly, I'm a small business owner. Certainly, I'm having trouble making my own mortgage payment. I probably make less money than Joe the plumber. At the end of the day, this is a big sacrifice for my family. I'm not in it for vanity. I'm not in it to make a name for myself. I really do feel that if we do not have the right leadership over the next 4 years, that America will move over a tipping point and we will not recover. It's that important, and I want to put a special message into the hand of Iowans who are America's gatekeepers. And I want to let them know that there is a way back. We need to start with a national security strategy that doesn't just compete, but it positions itself to win. I know how to do that. We need to fix our economy and create an economy that is the engine of a national security enterprise that is unrivaled since World War II. And I know how to do that through tax cuts and regulation cuts. And finally, we need to get immigration solved with a period, not edited. And that means we're going to do 3 things. We're going to stop, we're going to know, and we're going to decide. We're going to stop the flow of illegal immigrants over the north and south border with federal troops. We're going to know who's here with a 60-day registration period. Folks, we're going to know who you are or you're going to be deported. And third, we're going to decide whether or not you need to stay here based on your circumstances and what you can offer the United States. Everything is earned, nothing is given. And no one would allow someone to walk into their living room, take the remote control out, turn the TV on, and just stay. This is not the world we live in. We are a nation of laws. And if you're going to come here and be a citizen, then you're going to earn your citizenship and you're going to be here legitimately and legally. And we're going to have a backup knowing that it's safe to have you here. We cannot do a multicultural, multiplural society in the way that Europe has tried. It has not worked.
Folks, we're going to bring some cameras along for the ride on his full Grassley tour. That's Senator Chuck Grassley started this. He's in his 4th decade in the Senate. We're going to bring some cameras along and follow our friend here, David Stuckenberg. As you know, I've showed several candidates our state and looking forward to some windshield time and being able to show you this great state. And finally, if you had a 45-second final message to Iowa voters. For folks watching this out of state, the way the Republican caucuses work is that attendees, they're going to ask that night on the 15th of January, is there anyone here to speak on behalf of a candidate? Someone raises their hand. Why should they raise their hand and speak on behalf of the David Stuckenberg campaign?
I'm a candidate very different than anything that has been offered down from the special interest groups, oligarchs, and establishments, probably since George Washington. My career has been one of a soldier defending America's frontiers, and I've come home to find my post abandoned and in disarray. I want to unite us on the things we can get together on: a healthy economy, strong national security, fixing immigration, and then we'll move on from there. But we need problems solved, not suggested edits. At the end of the day, I can form a turnaround team who can deliver that for our republic, not in 4 years, in less. And at the end of the day, I'm going to need your help, and I'm asking every freedom-loving Iowan to support me during the upcoming caucuses. Support one of us for all of us, and let's be united.
Folks, huge thank you to the Iowa State Capitol. As you know, this is a public building. You see the tours coming in around us. Huge thank you to the Iowa State Capitol, and of course, thank you to Major David Stuckenberg for your time today. Thanks for being on the program.
Thank you for having me.
Folks, we're going to be following him all the way up to the caucuses along with the other candidates. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.